Hello, Algebra class. We are going to talk about section 8.4 factoring, specific types of quadratics. So yesterday in 8.3, you learned box 1. So I'm just going to flip this over here and go down to one of these, which is on your warm-up. And you learned that you could set up a box, what plus what equals the first number, and then what times what equals the second number. And you had to think of factors of 32 where you could add or subtract them and get 4. So as you sit here and think about this, you think, oh, 2 and 16, no differences in 4. Oh, wait a minute now. 4 and 8, interesting. 4 and 8 works. But in order to get a negative here, one of these has to be negative. And in order for that to be a positive, it tells you which one. Like that. So then you can break that down into x minus 4 and x plus 8. We did that yesterday. Now today we're just going to do a new method. And I want to show you something back on this method though. This box 1 works when that happens. Let's highlight that. That's super important. What is before the x squared? A 1. What's before the z squared? A 1. What's before the h squared? A 1. That's when you can use box 1. Yes. So now when we flip it over and we're on this side, we are going to talk about situations when this number here isn't a 1. And this is going to be known as, yes, you guessed it, box 2. And I did make these names up, so if you use this in the future, nobody will know what you're talking about when you say box 1 and box 2. That's a Mrs. Silva terminology. Okay, so what we're going to do is start with a box similar to what you did before, except that instead of just, see, I have these backwards, that's annoying. So let's just call the good old whiteout king out here, because this is not the order I helped you learn it. So there, you can either rewrite it or because we did the plus first and the minus multiply second. So you can change that. And what's going to happen is it's what two numbers add to give you the B, but multiply to give you A times C. So we aren't just going to pull the C anymore. We have to multiply it by that number, because this would have worked before too, but the number was always 1, right? So 1 times C would just be C. But now we're talking about situations where this isn't a 1, so that's the way it's going to go. Then we're going to use these values to split this term up into 2, and we're going to group them. So we're going to split up the x term, and then we're going to group them to factor. And you learned grouping as well earlier. So let's take a look at this. It kind of works better when we work through it. So let's start with our box. So what plus what equals what times what equals, here's our box 2 method. Okay, so the first number in there is that 11, just like it was in the box 1. But now the number in here, remember, isn't just the 4, it's 4 times the 6. So you got to multiply those two. We get 24. So I'll let you think about that. What is that going to be? I'm hoping you see it. Yes, it's 8 and 3. Very good. So 8 plus 3 is 11, and 8 times 3 is 24. Perfect. But now here's the difference. Yes, we're done with those. We're not going to use those anymore. But we're not going to just be able to give our answer like we did with box 1. There's a little bit more work. We are going to rewrite this, but instead of writing this term, I'm going to replace it with 2 terms, 8x and 3x. Because what's 8x plus 3x? Oh, 11x. So let's do that. So the 6x squared is the same, exactly the same. And the 4 is the same. I'll do that at the end. But this middle term right here, I'm going to now write two other terms. So I'm going to do plus, but instead of writing 11x, I'm going to put 8x. You got to put the x with it, though. You can't just put these numbers. Plus 3x. And then the last term is the same, plus 4. So do you see how 8x plus 3x is the 11x? And how 8 and 3 come from our box. Now we're going to group it. So let's put the parentheses. And again, it wouldn't have mattered if you put the 3x first and the 8x. So the order that you put these in here doesn't matter. Just make sure if there were a sign with it, a negative sign, that carries through with it. And now we're going to look at them each individually. Okay? So when you look at the first one there, what's the GCF here you can take out? All right, you can take out a 2 and you can take out an x. Should have two terms still left inside. So if you divide a 2x out of there, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And if you had 2 x's and you take one out, you still have 1 left inside. And 8x divided by 2x. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and the x got pulled out, so there's nothing in there. Plus, now what can we take out of the 3x plus 4? That's right, nothing. So it's just 3x plus 4. But what really is in front of that? You guys know that. We just don't always write it. A 1. Good. Now look, what do you see? They're the same. Okay, so we can take the 3x plus 4. I want you to view this like we have two big terms. So we have that and we have that. And it's like I'm factoring it, just like with grouping. So I have a 3x plus 4 in both of those. So I'm going to take the 3x plus 4 out front. And then you write in the second parenthesis what you have left. So what do you have left? You have 2x plus 1. And there you go. So a little bit of extra work. You can't just be done here. You have to rewrite that middle term, group it, and then you're done. So box, rewrite, group. Box, rewrite, group. Box, rewrite, group. All right, let's try another one. Then I'm going to set you free to try one on your own. So let's start with the box. So everyone, what plus what equals 17? What times what equals 42? Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. All right, back to where we were, right down here. Hopefully you thought of what it's going to be. Put my box around it here. 42. 1 and 42, no. 2 and 21, no. 3, does 3 go into 42? It does, because 4 plus 2 is 6. So 3 would go into 42. How many times? 3 goes in there, 14. Oh, 3 and 14, there it is. See, so it's kind of just a constant little playing game here. Now again, we're not just done because we have that 2 in the front and we're doing box 2, okay? So we're gonna rewrite this equation. I keep the 2x squared. I rewrite the middle term. They're both positive, so that's slick, plus 3x plus 14x. Error alert, this is where people make errors, is they forget to put the x's. So make sure that you, it looks blurry, make sure that you don't forget your x's here. Okay, you're replacing the x term, so they both need an x. Add the last term plus 21. Class, what's the next step? You got it. We're going to group. We're going to look in the first one. GCF in the first one is x. 2x plus 3 plus GCF in that 7. 2x plus 3. Yay! As you can see, it works out pretty darn smooth. We can take that 2x plus 3 out front, and now we just see what's left. X plus 7. And we're done. All right, you guys try to set up the box for the next one. All right, so what plus what equals? I hope you put a negative 16 in here. It's very important you don't miss that. And then what times what equals 3 times 16 is 48. Okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. Now we get to think. We had 1 and 48, no. 2 and 24, no. 3 and, let's see, what does 3 go into there? 16, 3 and 16. Yeah, well, no, that's right there. 4 and 12. Oh, there it is. 4 and 12. Now, 4 times 12 is that, but up here we need a negative. And so if these are both negative, that does work. And if these are both negative, when I multiply, I will get a positive. So that works. I'm going to rewrite the 3x squared. I'm going to now substitute those in for this term right here. Notice the minus. So you can do plus a negative, or you can just do the minus. I guess I'll just do plus negative. And then plus a negative 12x, and then rewrite the last one. I think it does work better if you do plus the negative, because then you don't make a mistake when you're grouping, because that plus sign is there and that negative gets jammed in with that. So that's a good thing. You don't forget it. Okay, GCF here looks like we got an x. So we are left with a 3x, because I took one out, minus 4, or plus a negative 4. We can do that. Plus, what can you take out here? I'm going to take out the negative, and the reason is because I see this one's a positive, so I want it to be the same. So I'm going to take a negative, and when I take out the 4, I'm going to take out a negative 4. When I do that, I am left with a, wait a minute, yeah, I am left with a 3x, and then when you take a negative 4 out of here, that does change the sign, right? Because it was positive. So it flips that sign. So when I multiply these two, I do get the positive back. But again, it worked out the way it was supposed to. If you notice, the signs are both flipped. Like you came over here and you were like, wait, this is negative 3x plus 4. And you, over here it had the opposite signs. You just need to get that negative out, and that'll flip both of them. All right, so then we're left with x minus 4, or plus a negative 4, times 3x plus a negative 4. I usually write that one first, so sorry if I confused you. I usually take that one out, put it out front, and then see what's left, the x plus a negative. It doesn't matter because of commutative property, it's multiplication, so it doesn't matter which order the parentheses are in. All right, well, let's keep practicing here, and you guys can pick up on this. Feel free to stop the video whenever you need to try it before you watch it. All right, go ahead and set up your box. What plus what equals 11, and what times what equals a negative 12. Oh my goodness, that's my daughter. I don't know if you can hear her in the background. Okay, so negative 12. 3 and 4, 2 and 6, none of those work for 11, but don't forget 1 and 12. That is another error alert. People forget the 1 times 12. And that does work here, because if you put a 1 and a 12 in, now remember, this has to be a positive, and this one has to be a negative. So to be a negative, one of these has to be negative, and to get a positive 11, it tells you it's going to be that one. So now I'm going to rewrite it, 3n to the second. I'm going to rewrite this middle term with this. So I'm going to put minus 1n, or you could put plus and negative, that's fine, plus 12n, I didn't forget my n's, minus 4. Next up, group. And when I look at those now, I see, oh, I got an n to take out, so I'm going to take that n out. I'm left with 3n plus a negative 1 plus 4 times 3n minus 1. And you guys might go, wait a minute, those aren't the same. Oh, yes, they are, right? That's the same as that. Keep, change, flip. So now I see that those two are the same. And so I take that out front. So 3n plus a negative 1, and then I take that out, and I see what's left for my other parenthesis, n plus 4. All right, we got 2 more to practice. What plus what equals 9? What times what equals a negative 36? So go ahead and take a look at that. See if you can figure out what that will be. 2 and 18, no, 3 and, oh, 3 and 12, does that work? I think 3 and 12, I think we hit it. All right, so 3 and 12 and 3 and 12. Now we gotta look at the signs though, because this has to be a negative, so one of them has to be negative and that has to be positive. So that means this is gonna be my negative. All right, so now we're gonna rewrite it, write the first term and replace the middle term, minus 3x plus 12x. I can also put plus a negative 3x and minus 18. Now we will group them, and then we're going to factor out one. I just wonder right this moment if I had the camera off before. I hope not. I'll show the whole page again if I, by chance, paused it and didn't restart it. Anywho, let's just keep moving. So we are now looking for what we can factor out of that one, and it looks like we can take out an x. We're left with a 2x plus a negative 3 plus, don't forget your plus here, that's the other thing people forget. What can you take out of these? You can take a 6 out. We're left with 2x minus 3. Again, you can change that to plus a negative 3 so that they look exactly the same, which they do. And I will factor that highlighted part out front. Now it's gone, and I see what's left for the other parentheses, x plus 6. And that is the answer. Next. What plus what equals a negative 15? What times what equals negative 16? Again, be really careful not to, I have to grab that. Hang on a sec. All right, my apologies there. Okay, a lot of interruptions today. So back to where we were at. We were thinking of two numbers that multiply together to give you 16 and add together to give you, or negative 16 and negative 15. And, look at over here. When they're one apart, what do you notice? It might work here. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it is something different, but let's try it. 1 and 15, and one's got to be negative. or 1 and 16. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? So it's 1 and 16. It's got to be a negative up here, so that means this is the negative in this case. Great. So we rewrite the first term, 4x squared, and then plus, I'm going to take that out and put this in place, 1x plus negative 16x minus 4, or plus a negative 4 if you want to do that, parentheses, and GCF. We can take out an x and we get 4x plus 1 plus, again they both have negatives, so I'm going to take a negative out and I'm going to take out the 4. So negative 4 parenthesis 4x plus 1. Yay! So I take out the 4x plus 1, gone and gone, and now I put what's left? X plus a negative 4, or of course same as x minus 4. This one's the same as 3n minus 1. This is the same as 2x minus 3. Last one, then we're all set. So what you're going to notice on this one is that we start off with a negative here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, you could do it leaving it alone, but I see the negative and think, let's just get rid of the negative and deal with positives, because you can always do that and rewrite it. So if I take out a negative, then this would be, oh my gosh, now an alarm's going off. Seriously. Okay, it's not mine, so I'm not worrying about it. So we can do that. Wait, I forgot my parenthesis. Okay, because then now we can do box 2, because we still have a number in front. It's just we got the negatives outside. So we're going to do box 2 for this inner part. This negative 1 is just going to float out front. Okay, so what plus what equals 5, and what times what equals 6. Oh, here we go again, where they're 1 apart. Does 1 and 6 work? Oh, I don't know about that, guys. Let's just write it in there, 1 and 6. That works here, but in order to get 5 here, that would have to be a negative. But if that's a negative, then that's a negative. That does not work. So here's a situation where, even though they were 1 apart, it didn't work. There must be something else, if we can do it. Well, there's only so many factors of 6. So 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Yay, that works. So it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes you can't make something work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try something else. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to put a big bracket here for us to do our work here. I'm going to rewrite that, 2x squared plus 2, or plus, rewrite that, 2x plus 3x plus 3. Now, box or parentheses and GCF. So what can you take out of these? You take a 2x out and you're left with an x plus 1. Don't forget there is a 1 there. You can't just say x. If you take the 2x out, you're really dividing that out. So there is, it's like 2x divided by 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Plus, this like same thing here. You take a 3 out, you're left with an x and a 1. Because you're dividing that 3 out. All right, 1 is still there. I have the x plus 1 in both. Gone. And what do you have left? 2x plus 3. So there we go. Now that I'm done working inside those brackets, I can get rid of the brackets and leave just those parentheses, and there's your answer. Oopsie. Like that. All right. Hope that was helpful. feel free to rewind and watch any areas that you might still need further help on. All right, bye.